Greetings and welcome back to Becoming a Published Author is Fun. If you don't understand why I say it's fun, then I invite you to check out episode 8 and you'll find out why. We are in episode 35 and our subject today is rejected, being rejected. Now, what's that all mean about? Well, I could be talking about love. When I was a teenager, there was this one girl. I really had a crush on her, and all I could do was think about her. And I wanted to. I was shy, and so I didn't know how to even approach her. But one day I got up the nerve to do so. And I went up to her, and we were at a school dance, I believe it was, and I asked her if she would dance with me. Well, she said, "Oh, I got a headache. I can't. I don't feel like dancing." Well, I walked away. 5 minutes later, she was dancing with somebody else. I was devastated. I had been rejected. Perhaps you have a similar story. You didn't die, did you? You got over it. And maybe that same night, same time, you asked somebody else. And it can happen whether you're a guy or a girl. You can get rejected in love. But that's not our subject today. You can get rejected when looking for an agent to help get your book published. Now we're getting down to where you and I live. You've written your book. You're rather proud of it. You're excited. Now you want to get it marketed. You want to get it published. You want to be a published author. So you start looking for that agent. Now here's the bad news. If you're in traditional, which is the only place you really absolutely need a agent, unless you're a VIP, you are going to have an agent who will find the publisher for you. And this is something that can take months. It took me close to 6 months, maybe less, maybe more. I don't remember. But it was a long time. I had to do a lot of research. A lot of agents out there. And you want to look for them. You have to know what genre you're in. And you have to know, you have to be able to write a query letter. That is something that you need to learn. If you're going to go traditional, I don't teach query letters because I don't advise you to go traditional. Traditional is aimed at an established client or a VIP or somebody of this nature that already is famous for something. Very rare anymore. It used to be they would go out and they would do just about anybody, but nowadays they like to have a stable clientele. And so they're going to look for somebody who's already got a name. Well, you need an agent to do that, and you'll need the right agent. So I finished my first book, and I I wanted to go traditional. I didn't know anything about anything else. That was all I knew about. And so I started researching agents. There are a ton of agents out there. And they don't all, how to say this? Each agent out there will have their own special genres that they favor, that they want to be involved in. And so some may do romance. Some may do how-to, or different things that they want to do. Now, in my case, I had written a book considered historical fiction. So that's what I was looking for. And I went through for months, just going through. And every once in a while, I'd find one that actually handled historical fiction. A lot of them did not. And so I just kept on going and going. I'd look at them. I'd go to their website and search out and see what their record was, what kind of authors that they had published, things of this nature. But invariably, I was finding that a lot of publishers didn't even do historical fiction, so I moved on from them right away. Others did historical fiction, but maybe they weren't at that particular time looking for a new author. They were all booked up. And when you have all these hundreds of agents out there, it takes a while to go through them and find the ones you want. Well, I finally found the agent I wanted. She had the credentials. She did historical fiction. Oh, every criteria that I wanted, that I was looking for, she checked. I was able to check that box off with her. So I got busy and learned how to do a query letter, and I sent her a query letter. I was excited. I was ecstatic because I figured I was going to get an offer. And I knew that it was going to cost anywhere from 10 to 15% of the profits. But it was worth it if I could get the right agent to get me to the right publisher and get it published. Well, the day came when I got the reply. I opened it up eagerly, and right off the bat, she apologizes and says that she was having to turn me down. It was a rejection. It was like a Dear John letter, and she rejected the book. Now, she didn't go into any details on it. And so I was kind of shocked, especially when she said it was in a genre that she wasn't comfortable with. Well, she didn't say what genre she thought it was in. I had mentioned that it was historical fiction. Well, what she had learned is that I was writing in biblical historical fiction. Now, the difference between biblical historical fiction and historical fiction is generally secular. Biblical historical fiction is about events that took place in the Bible. It's still historical, factual. These are events that actually took place, people that actually lived. But for reasons of her own that she did not reveal, she did not want to get in that. Well, that's her right, and so I didn't question it. I wish she would have explained it more, but she was trying to let me down easy, I guess it was. But I got rejected. So I had been rejected in love. Now I was rejected by a book agent. And maybe you have been too. But I got news for you. You don't need rejections. You don't need them. Why get rejections? In the first place, why even go with traditional? I've talked about that in the past. They are not the go-to place anymore. At one time, they were the only place you could go. They are big. They are huge. They're influential. But they don't pay very good royalties. They can't guarantee you really being a bestseller. They can spend a lot of money if they believe in your book. It comes down to whether they like your book, the feelings they have for it, the grip on them. You have to literally convince them that your book is the masterpiece that you think it is. And to a degree, that is always true, but with the traditional, it's a greater degree than anywhere else. And they're looking at it from their perspective, and only in the dollar sense, and they don't look at it as entertainment or as an artwork or anything. They might say they do, but basically they're looking at the bottom line. How much money can we make on this book? And that's their right. I'm not saying that's wrong, but they're not going to look at you. They're mostly going to look at VIPs, or they have their own authors they already have that they are publishing, and they're happy with them. And for you to get yourself into that little group, it's almost take a miracle. So you don't need that. You don't need rejections. Well, the next thing to do was I went to self-publishing. Well, the reason I went to self-publishing is the word self. It seemed to indicate that I would be in control, that I would get some good profits. Well, they do better. They do much better on the profit end than the traditional. Traditional, you go to 8 to 35%. With self-publishing, you go from 35% to 60% or higher. So self-publishing was the way I was looking at it, and I really wanted to. I ended up actually going that way. All I had to do was come up with the money, which yeah, for me it was a little bit of a stretch, but I wanted to do it, so I went and I bought the package, and I got my book published, and it was never rejected. And they did publish it. The thing is, I did not like the lack of control and the fact that they still made more money than I did. Whether you're looking at their front costs, which you had to pay right up front, that was all theirs. And then on the top of that, they were getting a percentage of the book, something like 40%, 35 to 40% of the book. So when you combined it all together, they were getting actually more money than you were, even though you were getting like 65 to 70%. That 65 to 70% is not of the retail value, it's of the net profit. So here at T&R Independent Books, we have different ways in which to help you. And if you're a Christian, I have that right down here. If you're a Christian serving in your church, I am looking for you. And what do we offer? Well, if you need to be coached, if you need to be taught how to write, I offer that. That is right up here, BAT, Basic Authors Training. We teach, coach, and publish. And we throw in some marketing as well. Well, perhaps you already know how to write your book. You know all about it. You're comfortable with it. You think that you don't need a lot of coaching. You don't need a lot of teaching. Well, then we have ministry publishing. And what do? We publish your book. And we throw in some marketing with it as well. In both of these, there's an upfront cost. But the profits on the books, that's where it's different than up here. Whether you go through BAT or ministry publishing, you get 100% of the net profits. Well, why do I say net? Because there are fees that have to be paid. There is a printer that prints your book. They have to be paid. There's shipping. There's taxes. Uncle Sam gets in there some way, folks. And also his little nephews, the states, they get in there too. And then where there is a small fee for T&R Independent Books for publishing the book. But that fee is included in that basic author's cost, which, like I said, it includes the printing, includes the shipping and handling, includes the fee, includes the taxes, all that. When you add it all up, it's I don't think I've ever had one that was $10 or more. Everything is always under 10. I don't guarantee that. It depends on the size of the book you're doing. But it's usually very, very low. And then what happens is you go out as an indie author and you set your price. 100%. There is a minimum price because of the printing platform. They set a minimum price so that we have to agree with that. But you're going to charge more than that. Your retail is as much as you want. Now, as your teacher and as your coach, I might tell you, maybe you're charging just a little too much. You need to be reasonable about, and so look at what other books, the size and the genres you're talking about, and then the size of book that you're talking about, and see what they price. And that's where you want to land, somewhere in there. And you're going to get 100% of the net profits. Self-publishers can't really offer you that. Only indie publishers can. So that's what we are. T&R Independent Books is an indie publisher. Indie standing for independent. So what do? Okay, I work with you. I don't reject you. I work with you. If you need to be taught, then this is what I suggest, and I will teach you and coach you and then publish. We use a two-tier method. I've discussed that in other posts. I'm not going to discuss it today. Well, I do a two-tier method to teach and coach, and eventually the two tiers come together and merge, and then we go on and we complete the book. And once that book is completed, you get a publishing package, which is basically me giving you the option of you continue on and get published by me, or if you decide you want to get published by somebody else, you can. The difference is there's no extra cost for the publishing by us. But if you go to somebody else, you're going to have to negotiate with them as to what you're going to pay them. So ministry publishing, same in this case, you are buying our publishing services and our extra marketing that we throw in. So I work with you. I'll teach you how to write. You'll get published. I will help you market your book. And here's some ways I do that. I have a bookstore. I'll put you in that bookstore if you want. I'll interview you on my blog if you want. I will also feature your book in my blog. You got it if you want. I will feature you in my posts if you want. I'll even interview you for my posts if you want. And I will put out some ads for your book. What I'm going to say? If you want. Why am I keep saying it? Because you are in control. Now over here I have the words paid by sales. There is a marketing fee for some of this stuff that you're seeing here. But you don't pay for it. Your customer pays for it. When they buy a book for you, that is included. That's that fee that I talked about before. That little fee will pay for all that you're getting here. So it's a very small fee, and it's based on a per book basis. And so each customer who buys your book will pay that fee as their basic author's cost, and everything above that basic author's cost is yours. 100% of it is yours. So that is what you're going to do. You're going to pay. When I say basic author's cost, that is because that is how I will get the book from the printer and everything, and then I pass that savings on to you that I get. Because if you go through their retail to do it with them, then you're going to get even less. You're not going to get that 100%. You'll get more like 60 or 70%. So you want to go through us, we pass the savings on to you, and you end up with 100% of the net profit. So that is it. Why you don't need to get rejected. Not when you have an option like this out there. And here you can contact us at trbookservices.com. Just send us an email to trbookservices.com. I would suggest that you put somewhere right at the very beginning, and right as your subject line, books. I want my book published. Book published. Need training. Something that will point me to what you need as a writer. Because I'll tell you, and with emails, I get all sorts of mail, and I go through it, and a lot of times I get spam, just like anybody else, and so I need something that's going to catch my eye. So in that subject line, being very careful to put it. You could just put in basic authors training if that's what you're, or BAT if that's what you're interested in, or ministry publishing. Put that in the subject line, and that'll catch my eye right away. So that is it for today. I am just happy to be able to tell you about this, and that's today's episode, and I will see you in the next episode.